Greetings and salutations. All right, come on in, pull up a chair. Let me tell you a story. This is the Adjutant. And today we're continuing another chapter in the Adjutant Story. And in this episode, I'm going to answer a question that people have asked me many times over the years. Why did I join the Army? That's a wonderful question. I've many reasons and rationales for joining, because the truth is nobody wakes up one morning randomly and decides to just join the military. There's always a story behind it. There's always a reason. Sometimes it's opportunity, sometimes it's direction, sometimes it's necessity, and sometimes it's a moment in life where you realize you need something bigger than where you are. So today I want to take you back in time, back to when I was a young man growing up on Pawleys Island, South Carolina, with no options whatsoever. In fact, I was actually homeless for a period of time. I can remember growing up on Pawleys Island and being very impoverished and always wondering, what it would be like to have resources, a family, to be able to do wonderful things in life. I would go to what was known in the areas like 7-Eleven or like little convenience stores, and I would go in and pick up Ebony and Jet magazine and kind of thumb through all the pages and see all these successful Black people just doing wonderful things, be they doctors, lawyers, or whatever. But because of my situation, being homeless for a period of time, growing up in a very impoverished household, very dysfunctional household, I just didn't know what to do. I was just trying to figure out life, trying to figure out my place in the world, if you will. And how that journey led me to raising my right hand is what we're going to talk about. And joining the United States Army was certainly what I needed to do. When you're young, life can feel like a wide open road, but sometimes the road doesn't come with a map. You're kind of just looking around, watching other people, trying to figure out what direction your life is supposed to go. Now, some people know early in life. They know what career they want. They know what path they're going to take. But for many of us, it's not that clear. You're searching, you're observing. I told you about me going and opening up magazines and watching and looking and just wondering what it'd be like to come and live in a wonderful family. You're thinking about what kind of life and future you want to build. And that was the stage of life I was in. I was young, I was ambitious, I had drive, but I had no outlet to help me achieve. Like a lot of young people, I was still trying to figure things out. Now, looking at the world, when you're young, you start looking at the world around you and asking some very important questions. Questions like, what kind of life do I want? What kind of man do I want to become? What kind of opportunities are available to me? And sometimes you start realizing there's certain environments you're currently in my case, very dysfunctional, may not be the environment that's going to take you where you want to go. That realization can be very powerful, because once you start thinking that way, you begin to look at various paths forward, something that offers growth and structure and opportunity, and most importantly, purpose. Now, what the Army represented for me was that the Army represented something bigger. It represented discipline, structure, and opportunity. An opportunity for me to earn money, for me to have a way to go to school and college. I went to night school while being in the military. But more than anything else, it represented possibility to grow, possibility to see the world, possibility to develop skills, possibility to become something greater than the version of myself I was at that moment. When I graduated from high school, I've often told the story, is that I don't think I really graduated from high school. I think a teacher felt sorry for me and gave me a D in a class. It was a Spanish class. Coincidentally, ironically, I went on to my first duty station was Panama, and that's a story for another day. But, I just had all types of roadblocks and hindrances. So when you're young, those possibilities matter, because you're not just choosing a job, you're choosing the trajectory for your life. Then there's a whole notion of the reputation of the military. Now, the military has always held a unique place in American society. For generations, young men and women have looked to the military as a place where they could build something meaningful. It's a place where people learn discipline and leadership and teamwork. And when you see that, when you see people who have served, you begin to realize that the military shapes people. It challenges them. It actually matures them. It prepares them for challenges that many people never experience. So making the decision to join the military isn't like accepting a regular job offer. You're not just filling out an application. You're making a commitment, a serious commitment. You're committing your time, your energy, your discipline, and ultimately your service to the country. That's not something you do lightly. And when that moment came for me to make that decision, and it was kind of made for me, I joined the military actually when I was 17. My father had to sign for me to go into the delayed entry program because it was made abundantly clear for me that I was not going to college. One, there was nobody to pay for it, and two, my grades were not that great. But I understood that my life was about to change once that decision was made. So once you raise your right hand, this is something you need to know, you are stepping into a completely new world. So let's talk about raising my right hand. I remember that moment clearly, standing there, raising my right hand, taking that oath. And at that moment, something shifts inside of you. You realize that you're now part of something much larger than yourself. You're part of a mission. You're part of a team. You're about to join the greatest military this world has ever known. You're part of an institution that has served this country for generations. My father was in the military. My uncles were in the military. Two of my brothers were in the military and retired. My uncles retired. My father retired. Two of my brothers retired. One from the Air Force. We won't hold that against them. And of course, me from the Army. And so you carry that responsibility forward. So what I didn't know at that time, now is interesting to actually think about joining the military, is that if you've never fully understand what you're stepping into, you don't know all the lessons you're going to learn. You don't know, for example, all the experiences you're going to have. You don't know all the people you're going to meet. I have met people from all walks of life, from, I like to say, from the hills of West Virginia to Compton, California, to the southern folks from South Carolina, or South Carolina, as they say, South Carolina, is that how they say? And you definitely don't know how much it's going to shape your life. But one thing becomes abundantly very clear quickly is that the military has a way of revealing things about you, your strengths, your weaknesses, your resilience, your leadership, and those lessons stay with you for the rest of your life. Now, as I kind of look back over the years, now when I look back on that decision all these years later, I can say something with absolute certainty. Joining the Army was one of the most important decisions I've ever made because it gave me discipline, structure, opportunity, confidence, the ability to change the trajectory of my life. Now I'm able to travel the world, build homes from the ground up, and a foundation that shaped everything that came afterward in my life. And that foundation stayed with me long after I took off the uniform. It allowed me to have the confidence, the swagger, if you will, to go on and go to law school. And when I went to law school and graduated and passed the bar exam and opened up my own private practice, all of this strength and confidence had its roots in the military. I remember battling in court with federal attorneys that went to Harvard and Yale, and I was unafraid, unabashed, not intimidated at all. So that is something that had that foundation of leadership and belief in oneself that has stayed with me long since I've took off the uniform. Let's talk about advice to young people. Now, if there's a young person out there watching this right now, and you're trying to figure out what direction in life you should go, let me say something to you. Now, pull up a chair. Now, come a little closer. You need to listen to me. The military isn't the right path for everyone, okay? But for the right person, at the right moment in life, it can be one of the most powerful opportunities you will ever have. Because the military teaches things that are hard to learn anywhere else. And quite frankly, you might not ever have the opportunity to learn these things. We talked about discipline, accountability, leadership, responsibility. Where are you going to learn all of these things while getting paid at the same time and building a career? And those lessons can carry you through the rest of your life. Every service member has a story. One thing that I've learned over the years is this. Every service member has a beginning, an origin story. Everyone has their own reasons for joining. Some join for education, me. Some join for opportunity, also me. Some join to escape difficult circumstances, definitely me. And some join out of a sense of duty. But no matter the reason, the experience of serving has a way of changing you. It shapes your perspective, it strengthens your character, and it leaves a lasting imprint on your life. Now, as I reflect, for me, joining the Army was more than just a career choice. It was a turning point, a moment where my life began moving in a new direction. I was homeless, I had no money, I had low self-esteem, I didn't know what I was going to do with my life. I was scared. I'll tell you what. But looking back today, I am grateful for that decision. I thank the Most High above for giving me the strength to endure because it opened doors. It created opportunities and it helped shape the person I would eventually become. All right, my friends, that's another chapter in the Adjutant Story. If you enjoyed this episode, make sure you subscribe to the channel because there are many more stories to tell. Stories about my military life, lessons learned, and the experiences that shape the journey. Until next time, take care of yourself, take care of each other, and I'll see you in the next chapter of The Adjutant. I wish you all blessings and blessings. Shalom.